You know, I've been at this for almost 6 years. It'll be 6 years in August 2026. And I've narrated a lot of stories. In the first couple of years, it was probably closer to 1,000 stories, but I took them all down because they were being stolen. But what this guy told me at the gym the other day will probably put this story in the top five. It was a Monday. I usually do chest and biceps on Monday. So we continue to talk, and then he proceeds to tell me that he was tired because he had to work the night before. And I asked him, what did he do for a living? He said he bartends most of the time, and then on the side, he drives people privately, similar to Uber and Lyft, but on the private side. He proceeds to tell me as a bartender, he hears a lot of stuff, both from men and women, and he has heard some wild stuff. And you know me, I'm not going to interrupt him. I'm going to let him finish because I'm going to soak it all in, and I'm going to come back and tell my audience. So I tell him I have a YouTube channel, and he chuckles a little bit. He says, really? Are you serious? I was like, yeah, I am. He said, well, what do you talk about? I said, well, mostly infidelity. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah. I told him to take out his phone and type in my channel name. And sure enough, he's like, wow. Then he looks at me and says, you know what? You're not going to believe what I'm going to tell you. And I still don't believe it until this day. People, I've told you many times in a few videos that when I am out in public and a conversation arises, I always tell people about my YouTube channel. This is how I get most of my stories. I share my channel with my family and my friends. So this man begins to tell me about a night with two of his other buddies. Now, he is out with his buddies at the bar he bartends, and three women come in to the bar, and they all start talking, they all start drinking, and they pretty much hang out for the rest of the night. So the conversation goes to where, what are you guys doing after this? Yada, yada, yada. And so they all start hanging out after the bar closes. Well, they continue to hang out, and the conversation leads to, what did they do for a living? We're talking about the women. They were all nurses. Now look, I'm not saying every nurse is tainted or the medical profession is off limits when it comes to marriage, but I've narrated a lot of stories about nurses on my channel, and neither one of them ended on a positive note for the nurse who was doing the cheating. Just saying. Like I said, I know every nurse doesn't have a hidden agenda, and there are a lot of nurses who are faithful to their partner. But these three, so as the night progresses, somehow the conversation leads to, hey, where are you guys staying? Then one of the women said, oh, we are sharing a room, all three of them. So 3 women, 3 men in the same room. I'm not going to fill in the blanks. You know what happened. And they all swap partners. Now, while all this is going on, the men do not know that these women are married. So that's how it came out. They had a conversation, and all 3 women said, oh yeah, we have husbands back at home. Let that sink in. 3 women coming down to Florida for a vacation. Neither one of these women had on their wedding rings. Are you kidding me? That's crazy. This is the reason why marriage is not such a good idea nowadays, because of stuff like this. So these women came down here on a vacation to have a good time. I'm not going to say that they came down to Florida to cheat, but the bad thing is, the first time the opportunity presented itself, they went for it. How can you come on vacation and betray your husbands like that? And because all of them were in their late 40s, that's what the guy told me. And all of these women had kids. He didn't say if the kids were still at home or what have you. Don't know if it got to that point. But imagine that these men will never find out that their wives were unfaithful on vacation. And you know these women are not going to say anything, because if one tells, she's going to tell on the other 2. That's the reason why I said in the beginning, this is one of the craziest stories someone has told me. These nurses coming down to Florida on vacation and cheating at the first opportunity. This is what I keep telling you guys on this channel. Time will tell on someone, but sometimes time never tells, because some of these people have a lot to lose. You think you know your spouse. They go on these girl weekends, girl trips, whatever you want to call them. And the minute they get to their destination, the communication drops off. And people are going to say, oh, well, they're out with their girlfriends. Yeah, get out of here with that. There are 24 hours in a day. When your significant other reaches out to you, you should reach back out to them in a timely manner. None of this, I was with my girlfriends, I was hanging out with the boys. Put your partner's mind at ease. When they reach out, you reach back. And don't say, I was with the girls or I was with the boys. It took you 4 or 5 hours to return a text message that will probably take you less than 30 seconds. Get out of here with that nonsense. Men, be careful out here. Protect yourself at all times. I'm not saying every woman will be unfaithful, whether you're dating or you're married, but just pay attention. I always say, from my experience being on this planet, time has a funny way of revealing a lot of things. Pay attention. The guy told me after that night, they never saw them again. He said one of the women said they had about another 4 days left in the state of Florida on their vacation. But he said he never saw them again. Him and his buddies hung out at the same bar they met them at, where he bartended a few nights later. But like he said, he never saw them again. I'm not going to ramble on too much more, but I wanted to bring this story to you to let you guys know that people tell me crazy stuff in person because I tell them about my YouTube channel. And that story he told me was crazy enough, but sad at the same time, because these husbands back home, they will never know this happened. Never. Oh, I'm not finished. I know of someone where a friend of hers met a woman on Plenty of Fish. I think they dated for about a year, maybe, and they got married. Well, he found out she was cheating and he crashed out. Don't crash out when someone cheats on you. It gets worse for him. And this is why I always tell you not to let your emotions dictate your movements. Well, he ended up kidnapping this woman, stabbed her. She was in the hospital for a week in a coma. And now they arrested him. He bonded out. This went on for 2 years. They just had his trial back in early April of this year, 2026. He's sitting in a Texas prison. They've already convicted him of 3 charges, and each one of those charges are 15 plus years. He is in his 50s. He is never getting out. He is never getting out of prison because he lost his cool. Don't lose your cool over someone who cheats on you. They are not worth it. Don't ever let someone have control over your freedom like that. You need to take control of the situation, not physically, mentally. And when you slow down and think, you usually can come out on the other end in a better place, not behind bars. Anyway, guys, until next time.